For the typical human being, it is much easier to be afraid than to have faith. Therefore, belief is an act of will. Man understands that all outer harmony is the equivalent of spiritual harmony when spiritually awakened. He may be aware of his fall or stumbling when he stumbles or falls. One day a college student passed someone while walking down the street. "This woman is the most awkward woman in the world," she repeated in her head. She didn't criticize the Boy Scouts when 3 of them suddenly rushed around the corner and nearly knocked her over, but instead quickly invoked the pardon of the law and praised the woman's divinity. All ways of wisdom are peaceful and pleasant. One must be prepared for surprises after setting one's expectations of the universal. Even when things seem to be going wrong, they actually are. For example, one woman was taught that since there is no loss in the divine spirit, she cannot lose what is hers. Anything out of place would be found or made equal. She had lost $2,000 a few years ago. She had loaned the money to a relative while she was alive, but when the relative died her will made no mention of the debt. Having no written record of the transaction, the woman was bitter and angry and never got her money. She decided to ignore the loss and get the $2,000 from Universal Bank, but knew that to do so she would first have to forgive the woman. I deny a loss. In the divine intellect there is no loss. As a result, I cannot lose the $2,000 that I legally own. A door closes and another opens. She lived in an apartment building that was for sale, and the lease required tenants to vacate the property within 90 days of the sale. The landlord abruptly broke the contracts and increased the rent. Once again she was on the line of injustice, but this time she remained unaffected. She praised the landlord, noting that by raising the rent she would now have a greater flow of money from God. Although the new leases were drafted for advance rent, the 90-day clause was overlooked for some reason. Due to the error in the new leases, the landlord soon had an opportunity to sell the house, but the tenants retained ownership for another year. Each renter received an offer from the agency of $200 to leave. Many families have moved. There were only 3, including the woman. After about 2 months, the agent reappeared. This time he asked the woman if she would be willing to cancel her lease for $1,500. Suddenly it hit her. "Hurry, yes, your $2,000. She remembered what she had said to the roommate's friends. "If there are further talks about leaving, we will all pull together." Her first step was to talk to her friends. These friends have claimed that since they gave you $1,500, they will no doubt give you $2,000. As a result of giving up the apartment, she received a check for $2,000. It was indeed a great example of how the system worked, and the apparent injustice only served as a pretext for their protest. It showed that there is no loss and that when a person adopts a spiritual attitude, he is able to draw whatever he needs from this vast reservoir of goodness. I give you back the years that the locusts devoured. The doubts, fears, resentments, and regrets of mortal thought are represented by locusts. These unfavorable ideas are enough to steal a man, since nobody contributes anything to himself but himself, and nobody takes anything from himself. About yourself. Man is here to demonstrate the existence of God and bear witness to the truth. And the only way to do this is to create abundance from scarcity and justice from injustice. The Lord of hosts says, "Prove me now. Unless I open the windows of heaven to you and pour out a blessing, there will not be room enough to receive it."